Hello, everyone, and welcome to our second talk with our consultant in country, Krešimir, who's going to explain to us about the Croatian parliament election that has just occurred. Krešimir, tell us about it, and would you mind introducing yourself?
Thank you for this opportunity, Thomas. I'm Krešimir Macan. I'm running PR consultancy, political consultancy, and business consultancy, whatever you want. But we have all in one. Croatia is a small country called Manjgura. It's a complex name. Doesn't matter. Everybody knows me by name. And I've been advising. I've been advisor to two prime ministers. Actually, the current one who re-won the elections. And previously, some 20 years ago, to the left Prime Minister Ivica Račan. And then in the meantime, I ran several campaigns in the region, from Macedonia to Slovenia, so pretty much Western Balkans. And in the meantime, joined EAPC and had a chance to be at several conferences where I met you and all the other guys and exchange all experiences, from US elections to any elections all over the world. And we won Bronze Polaris 2 years ago for a campaign that we did for local elections here in Croatia, for Šibenik.
Fantastic. A huge congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you want to, I hear you have a presentation for us. Do you want to start by going through that?
I want to share some of the insights that I prepared just for colleagues, so they can just see it, how it looked like. So you see the screen now, so I think everybody would be able to see.
Yes, it's fantastic. It's on our recording.
Yeah, so this is the victory picture. You see happy faces, more than happy, in midst of Corona rise again. But they were so happy they didn't take any precaution really much that evening. It was at the open. That was the only precaution they really took. There were no celebrations inside. So all celebrations took place at open. And this is at least one big measure that they've taken to prevent any spread of Corona. And it seems to be successful, because we haven't heard of any infection so far. So this is Prime Minister Andrej Plenković, and left to him is his Speaker of the Parliament, Goran Jandroković, and they are absolute winners of this campaign, and they are center-right party right now. So HZD, Croatian Democratic Union, it's a center-right party, main center-right party ever since party of President Tudjman, founder of Croatia since 90s. So he was incumbent, not having very stable majority. And so let's see what happened. What I prepared for you, just to move the slide on. Okay. So these are the players. In the middle, it's Plenković. Left from him is, of course, left center SDP, Social Democratic Party. New movement, new left. It's clean left. It's not left center, but left. Tomislav Tomašević with the movement Možemo, we can. And Dalija Orešković is one of the pragmatic coalition members, three smaller parties that joined to pass the census, and all three of them passed. Each got the mandate. So obviously it was good calculation. Finally, somebody made some calculation before running the elections. And on the right, we have two extreme right players, Homeland Movement, Domovinski Pokret, led by a famous singer who became a politician, something that we copy from Ukraine, Slovenia, and elsewhere. And then already existing Bridge party that moved to the right and extreme right, but they got some new faces, and it proved out to be successful. And they also did one of the best video campaigns online. So these are the key players, and they are actually the only one loser. Everybody, I would say, there are four winners and two losers. So Bernardić, president of the Social Democratic Party, they never lost like this, and he resigned day after. And Škoro, the extreme right movement, they won 16 mandates. They needed one more to make hell of life to Plenković, but they didn't get it. So actually, they don't matter at all. So you get 16 mandates and nobody asks you question. Oh, that was, the big victory in nothing. Actually, it's a great result, but not enough. And they were so disappointed. So those are actually, I would say, two losers of these elections. All the others turn out to be winners. So let's see what happened. Croatia is divided in 10 electoral units. You can see them on the screen, and they are, it's a gerrymandering established 20 years ago and still there, still alive. Nobody changed it. It should be changed because it's not fair. The boundaries are gerrymandered, so they are not normal boundaries. For example, Zagreb is divided in 4 electoral units to avoid that Zagreb votes left, because they are always left. So they divided it. So you see the center. In the center here, this is Zagreb area. It turned out to be blue for the first time.
Sorry, could you just change the page of the screen?
So this is the gerrymandering of Croatia. 10 electoral units that are actually divided in a way that, for example, this is the biggest electoral unit from north to south of Dalmatia, and taking parts that are not normally working together. So half of Dalmatia, half of Lika, and for example, this one is going from the center of Zagreb to the coast, and you see the gerrymandering here in the red. So 10 electoral units are really divided in not fair way, and you have to win 14 seats in every of those, and of course don't is working in favor of the biggest parties. So actually what happened, though the polls were predicting that left restart could be making good results, they didn't expect that Možemo, the left movement, will be so strong. So actually they cut their percentages so low that HZ got those first seats in every electoral unit. So actually Don't gave them at least 7 mandates as a gift, because since they won all these electoral units, so they won 8 out of 10. So actually at least 7 mandates were given as a gift, being the first party on the list. And this made this huge difference. So no poll actually predicted it correctly. I'm going to come to that soon. So the victory, our parliament is made of 140 MPs, plus 3 from abroad, from diaspora, plus 8 minorities, meaning 151, majority is 76. So HZ itself won 66. This is the best result they had since 2007, I think. Restart, this is the worst result also in the last 10 years, 41 only, and they had the biggest coalition ever. So it's not all mandates theirs. So probably the smallest number of the SDP mandates, something like, I think Labour had also recently, the smallest number ever. So the Homeland movement came to 16, one less than they needed to change everything, because HZ is missing 10 mandates. Most, it's right, he was a partner to Plenković, he cannot join him anymore. Možemo, we can, it's left, pure left, they are surprised. So actually when you join them to restart, you go to 48, then plus the free of Pametno Focus and SSIP, you get to 51. Again, it's very low result of the left. So because of the low turnout, the turnout was one of the lowest in the history, 46% only. And due to Corona, and I would say due to very bad campaigning, no motivation for people to go out. And then you have 1 mandate of the veterans. HNS was a partner of Plenković, current partner, as well as reformist. So what happened, it's for the first time actually that we had a winner and we have a clean government, a clean majority the day after elections. 66 plus 2 existing partners, 68 plus 8 of minorities is making 76. So Andrej Plenković, it's a kind of gamble. He gambled and he won everything that he needed. The government without extreme right, the center right government, and he has full control of it. But of course, he has full responsibility in 4 years after COVID. So it's going to be a huge responsibility. So COVID was the factor, and COVID was the reason for the early elections, because elections were due, last time elections were September 11, 2016. So it's not that early elections. If you look in our normal terms, it's election year, but they called it right now because of the successful fight against COVID, and then knowing that economic disaster is to follow. So they wanted to use support they won in COVID times, and election themselves were without any trouble. So everybody wore masks, people were disciplined, and there were no incidents. So even people in self-isolation were allowed to vote, and even COVID diagnosed people were able to call in somebody to vote for them. So there were no technical problems in that regard. So what were the main stories and actually why they lost? Because Restart, so left coalition, was claiming Croatia needs a restart to get rid of corruption and get new beginning after COVID. And they collected the biggest coalition ever, probably. But obviously, coalition partners didn't bring anything to them. They were, the main strength was the SDP, the left center. And AGZ played a very safe card. They use this, you see, they have a card that they were giving away and saying, play safe. Don't gamble. So it's very clear message. I realized actually they didn't use it so much in the billboards and everything, but I realized that this was the strongest message. And actually that was the message of save Croatia. Don't make any experiments. Go on with the guys who managed to save you so far. And they did manage some crisis very great, excellent way. And so this is a play safe card. I think it's a very clean message that's coming across. I saw that you laughed. It's like the Brexit story. It's everybody on Sunday. So no surprise that voters simply said, "Oh, we want to play safe. Don't matter. He's not corrupt. He's a good guy. Let's play with him for another 4 years." And the other thing that created a big debate, or if you look at it as from our expertise level, it's personalization. Andrej Plenković on the right is a current incumbent prime minister and current prime minister to be. It's really strong, complete politician, being MEP, being connected with everybody in Europe. Really somebody you don't want to go to debate with. And left, you have the SDP guy, Davor Bernardić, the guy who resigned now, who was courageous enough to face him in a debate because he had to, but the campaign was not personalized. So he was out of the campaign because he was the weak link of the Restart coalition. And it turned out that in case when you have a weak link in the fully personalized campaign, as this one was, then you cannot win. So Plenković actually won. There were two big duels, TV duels that were very watched. He didn't perform that well initially in the first one because he was so superior to Bernardić, so that sometimes you viewers could have an impression, who are you? It was too much of looking down on Bernardić, and this could turn negative to you. But on Friday, on the last night before election silence, we have election silence on Saturday and Sunday. The last duel, he was superior. He was relaxed. He was laughing. Gave some great answers, and just fully relaxed guy. And people, I think, really liked the picture. And this is what won additional votes for him in the center. And the Bernardić became famous because he brought a pile of papers and was showing all the time the papers to him. So he is now the person with the memes and with the papers. Everybody's writing different messages on these papers and stuff. So this is the only thing that we remember from their duels. At one point, he lost the paper, and the actual Prime Minister Plenković asked him, "Did you lose it?" And then he said, "Fuck, I did." That was, I think, the only scene that we'll remember from these duels. That was actually, funny. But Friday duel was great. So personalization played, and campaigning. AGZ did good campaigning, though not at your level. I would say not at the world level. It was just spending a lot of money, but not hitting all the targets as they wanted. And Restart somehow had unpersonal campaign, and it didn't work. So, for example, just to illustrate that, Bridge Party had the most views on videos on Facebook. Not two biggest parties. So the kind of most was surprised, Možemo was surprised. So two of the surprises had very good online campaign for young voters. AGZ had some, but you see SDP as somebody who asked for a change, didn't do any actually. You see they come last. Do you see the slide?
Yes. So can you just talk to us about what it actually shows in terms of viewership?
These are views. These are just the views on Facebook videos. So these are the views.
The videos.
Yeah, Facebook videos, cumulative views. So it's if you are number 2 party or top pretender, it's no way that you do 500,000 views compared to 1.5 million of the smallest parties. That is your competitor. So obviously you didn't do anything to approach the young voters. And young voters made these contenders turn to mandate, actually to win the mandate. So there were some mistakes. There were mistakes in the campaigning, big mistakes in campaigning too.
And just for those at home, a quick reminder, Croatia's population is about 4 million. So
4 million.
You are seeing very significant amounts of views as a percentage of the population.
Yeah, and they should be, yeah, this is exactly, and so it is, it's for me, you know, especially you know, coming from Brexit campaign, it's not understandable that somebody 2020 has no online campaign, proper online campaign, because most they did it, the number 1 and number 3, and it paid back. Each of them, they have 8, the other has 7 mandates. So campaigning pays back. And this is just to illustrate how we came to it. Okay, so this is the classical question, where the country is going, you know, that we ask, good, bad direction. So good is red, bad direction is right, and good is green. And you see what happened in mid of COVID. We had lockdown in mid of March, and then mid of April, you see the reversal that happened. In mid of the crisis, Croatia turned out to say we are going in good direction, because obviously we were fighting COVID successfully. And this trend showed also some other countries. So it was change of trends. And then I'm moving to another slide. Do you see the next slide?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so these are trends from May last year to May this year in party ratings. So you see the blue, it's the ruling HZ and the winner of the elections.
Yep.
And they won support, they simply rose in April and made a big difference compared to SDP. You see the first big difference, and then in May they kept that difference, and this is the reason why they called for elections. HZ called for elections, because for the first time they were leading significantly. And then this is the Homeland movement. You see they didn't move anywhere in the election. They stayed roughly at 11%, 11%. Undecided voters came up, so good chance for campaigners. And then you have some other options. The most was under the census in COVID, and right now it's around 6% after the campaign. So you see clear trends, who is going up, who is going down, and this is why they call for elections. But what happened in the mid of the campaigning, we got increase of the COVID numbers in Croatia. And this was a big debate. Actually, COVID influenced the campaign. The most famous incident was when the actual Prime Minister Plenković paid visit to the tennis tournament when Novak Djokovic was playing. And he touched him briefly on the shoulder, and everybody asked him to go to self-isolation after that happened, because Novak Djokovic turned to be positive. But our expert health services said that he wasn't, that wasn't direct contact, close contact by their definition. So they told him not that it hasn't have to go to self-isolation. It proved right, because he didn't get any symptoms, so he didn't get infected. But it was a huge debate for days, whether he days, whether he should go to self-isolation or not. And the last thing where I think after that I'm stopping is the polls got everything wrong, but one. So all other polls were saying, so the last poll that you see here at the bottom has HZ leading, and I'm using their slides. That's the only one. All others were saying red, SDP restart is going to win, and it didn't happen. Some because of the bad campaign, some because of the COVID, and altogether because of the bad turnout. Altogether, I think 200,000 voters less than the last time. So when you have low turnout, the results come out as a surprise. So this would be for me as a slides. I think that you got pretty good picture on what happened.
Thank you. I thought that was really, really interesting, and thank you so much to go through the slides with us to give everyone at home that understanding. You said a few things that were particularly interesting to me. One of the comments you made was, finally someone made a calculation before standing.
Yes.
talking about deciding to stand. We work with many different politicians across the world as the association, and many of the conversations our members have is what is the right time to stand. Could you talk us through what you meant by that comment and how other political consultants can have that conversation with people?
No, but I think that I'm a math guy, probably. We should all be, but in our business, I'm all in one, because Croatia is small, as I already said. So I'm everything from polling to strategy to operations. I cannot separate my business in details. I have a small team, so we do everything. So one of the things that everybody does is doing the polling and then the numbers. And numbers were showing that two small parties from the center and liberal point of view, that they had week before elections, they had each 2.5%. And it was clear that they won't be able to make to 5 in 2 weeks of campaign. So everybody was pushing them to make pragmatic deal. So not ideological deal, but just simply to go together and say 2.5 plus 2.5 is making 5. And that means the mandate. Let's see who is going to win them. And we are not friends. This is just marriage of interest. And this is for the first time that it happened. So they didn't have time to negotiate what are our differences. Do you like me or you don't like me? The question was simply, are you going to be alive after the elections or dead? This is how we actually explained it to them. And they decided that they would rather survive pragmatically. And they did. The result is free mandate. But we know what's the problem with our clients. There is so much vanity. So they don't respect the numbers. They all think that they are Winston Churchill or Kennedy, and that they are bigger than the world. And once the elections finished, they said, that's famous, I told you so, Thomas. You remember how many times you told that to your clients? Unfortunately, no, we win most of the times, but sometimes we have to tell them, I told you so, because they didn't listen. And so this was an example where kind of vanity lost to numbers, and I'm very proud of it. That because it will help us do better job in the future, because we have now clear example to show to the guys, this is how it looked like, this is the result. Unless you listen to our numbers, you're lost.
I think that's incredibly important and very necessary advice to tell people is to look at the data and to look at the understanding what can be done, and that strategic wargaming. A lot of our industry are now doing planning and detailed planning with our candidates to then look at that strategic advice that we need to give to people. Mm-hmm. Another comment you made was about gerrymandering, and I often hear this at the local level, where people say it's too impossible. It's all against us. They're stacked everything against us. I'm a small consultancy. What can I do? And what you've just talked about here is working in difficult scenarios with boundaries and borders that are difficult. But how can you make that to your advantage, and what can you do to stop those things being a problem in the campaigns you work on?
Okay, it turns out when the left was in power some 5 years ago, they were asked by Constitutional Court to say whether the numbers of the whether these units are okay. They are not okay, but they somehow answered that in the meantime that the gerrymandering original idea balanced somehow. So the left and the right were getting the same number of the mandates, and this is good for the big parties. So they didn't change at the time. So there was a big constitutional debate whether our electoral units are giving the same weight to every vote, and they are not, because you can get the mandate from 8,000 to 14,000. That's not constitutional, I would say. The mandate should be at the same price all the time. So you can actually you pay some mandates double the price, and that's not fair. So all mandates should be kind of at least balanced. So what we do is you go to numbers, and then if there is a pragmatic solution, if you know that that part of the city was selected to balance something else, then you are finding a cure for it. So if you have to get a rural party in your coalition, then you go to rural and partner and find it. Because it's usually combination. It was gerrymandered in a way that left part of the city of Zagreb was balanced with the rural part of the Croatia. So if you are left and you need to win that electoral unit, you need a rural party. You need someone strong in the area, and then you either grow, you prepare that party for elections, or you select from existing partners. One of those partners was at the times Croatian Peasant Party, like center-right party, but was able to go with the left at the right at any time.
Fantastic. And then another question I often get asked is, what are the things we should look at your election and have learnt from? What are the lessons that other consultants can go, they tried that, or they wanted to do this, and those are the things that went well? Are there 2 to 3 things that happened that we want to tell the rest of the wonderful association about?
Okay, it's again about all the rules about campaigning, messaging. They can be applied, and it wasn't proper campaigning, it wasn't proper messaging. So altogether, it was go back to the roots and do the campaign first. Don't think about the gadgets, but go to the basic and make the message tests, strategies, and then numbers, and then go to the campaign. Then use the tools. So first, standard preparation, good polling, good messaging. Test your messages. I think that none of these messages were tested in Croatia. So go to basic, because actually the lesson that I'm taking from it, that all our rules that we have as colleagues still apply. Nothing changed, but politicians think that things can change and that they can play by different rules without testing, and that they know the best. No, they don't. We know the business. We are very few. We know the business, and they should respect us if they want the best results. This is the thing with the amateurs. You know, you think that professionals are expensive. Hire an amateur and see the price that you pay at the end. So this is really what happened in several campaigns here. Whoever hired a professional made results. So this is the rule number 1. So everything that we have learned so far on basic campaigning things works. Second, personalization. If you run a highly personalized campaign, there is no answer to it unless you have a strong person on the other side. You cannot counter a strong personalized campaign with a weak leader on the other side. You cannot hide it. You can try to compensate, but you have to bring some names out of the box. So if you are going for a big coalition of parties, but without strong name, doesn't mean anything if you have a strong leader, as it happened on the other side. And a third, campaign matters. We had, as I've seen researchers in UK and everywhere else, we have rerun several in Croatia, and they still confirm that quarter of voters really decide in last 2 weeks of campaign. So I would say that this time probably even more decided in the last week. So really the messages, last week messages, last week momentum really really worked out. And then the 4th point is never forget GOTV, day of election. People think that they have them on Friday when they see the latest polls and when they see the latest debate, and they forget that there is Sunday, there is a COVID, and you have to get your voters out. So those who were getting their voters out by any means, they won elections.
Fantastic. That's really, really interesting. I want to echo how important that focus group is and testing the message. I know we're seeing a lot with video focus groups now, given people are in remote situations, but there's no excuse not to have a focus group. And also for your get out the vote material. Again, we talked there about how important it was, but often it's slightly different. And we can't use the same focus group we did at the beginning of the campaign for the messages we want at the end. A lot of people go, oh, but we tested it once, let's just stick with the message.
No. It was completely different message at the end of this campaign already, because COVID interfered with the campaign, and all campaign plans went out. But what I think about, what I also thought under GOTV, it's not, for example, we didn't have a proper GOTV campaign, we never have it, because they think it's not important. But the day of election is kind of specific strategy day. I don't know how you do it, but we always pull people to elections. I never let election day to go waiting for the reports. I'm working till the last minute. I'm pulling people out, and I'm counting how many I pulled out, and I'm never happy. And when I'm never happy, then I think that I'm winning. And
it is the most wonderful day for a campaign consultant, the election day, and a good field operation where you have your soldiers that you are marching to your polling station is something incredibly important for everyone.
Yeah, but Thomas, it's so clear to you and me and colleagues, but not to everybody else.
Well, fantastic. Is there anything else you want to say in summary about that? I think you've been really helpful and really clear
I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful for the opportunity, and I think that this new Zoom live in COVID and video conferencing should be a new format where we can meet and talk and exchange our experience regularly. And I'm glad that if this is shared with the colleagues, but we can also make it public. I have no problems in making this our conversation public and just information for everybody who would like to see what happened in Croatia.
Thank you very much, because I think you've been really helpful. And if anyone has any further questions, I'm sure they'll be in touch. But thank you.